How's everyone? Thanks for coming. My name is Marina. So I'm here to tell you, maybe some of you are here because you already think this, but this is what I believe, that what you eat is one of the most important choices that we make daily, and we make it all the time. And a lot of people do this without thinking about it. Like they just kind of put, whatever is in sight, they put in their mouth. And I think that also even as an activist, it's a really important thing that I do for the planet, for animals, also for myself, to be able to do other things in life. And for me, it might sound extreme to you, what I say, but I think it's almost like a life or death choice every single time that I eat. Of course, I don't get so grim about it, but I take it very seriously. So that's the first thing I have to say. And for me, everything started, I want to share a little bit with you about how I started with raw foods, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And everything started with my mom, who's in the picture with me. And she was very, very sick for 8 years. She had a bladder. And basically it was kind of like a bladder infection, but chronic, so constant. So maybe some of you have experienced a bladder infection and you know how painful it is, and that was her for 8 years. So she would have to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes, including in the night. And literally, like, my mom would be like this, like she would never stand straight because she was always in pain. And she wasn't a part of my life almost because she was really, really sick. She couldn't, talk to me in high school about my issues and things like that. And then she did all these treatments with doctors and nothing really worked for her. And she decided to, after 8 years, she decided to take things into her own hands. And she started reading a lot about nutrition and things like that. And she did a cleanse herself. She did a water fast. So she only drank water for a month. And it might sound extreme to you, and it can be for some people. And this is something she did to heal from her disease. And actually it worked. And her disease is called IC, if any of you want to look for it. And right now she's becoming very active among the community. And she's getting a lot of resistance, but she's talking to people about her journey and what she did. And after the fast, she didn't just go back to eating the way that she was eating, but she started eating raw foods. And she has been doing it for 3 years. And my partner and I was over there. We were very inspired and by my mom, because like when you see this, it's unbelievable. And when you see a person who's like this and doesn't leave the house, and all of a sudden she can stand straight and do everything that she did before, it's really life-changing. So we kind of followed her path. So it's important for me to say that my message for you is not to wait until you're sick, but just take care of yourself now. Think about it now. And that's really important. So I'm going to start by asking you, I have 3 items over here. And I can, this, you know what it is.
Yes, one there.
Oh, right. But these unidentifiable items I'm going to pass around to you, so you can do that. And it's interesting if you guys think these are healthy, like which ones are healthy. What do you guys think?
It depends on the ingredients.
Yeah.
I do. Are there A's and E's in it?
Nothing that you wouldn't know what it is.
This one is
So I heard based on the ingredients, like this one, what do you think? It's pretty obvious, right? Like this one is very simple and we know exactly what it is. So basically I want to kind of get this image in your mind because I think it's very powerful. I went to the health food store to get all of these items, and even though it says like healthy on something, or on that box it says like kind of, the healthy thing and it's low fat or whatever, when you read the ingredients, which I will read some of them to you later, you'll see all kinds of scary stuff that I don't know what they are, and I am a nutrition coach, and that's scary. So that's one of the ways that we know whether something is healthy or not. So what is raw food? Obviously, it's a huge topic, and I don't have time to really go into everything. So I'm just going to tell you in short what it is. Basically, for me, different people have different definitions, but for me, it's things that are live, so they're not cooked, organic, fresh, and unprocessed. So if you see this pomegranate, it's very obvious that it's a raw food because, nothing has been done to it. But a lot of, like, when I go to the supermarket now, most of the things I see are processed. Like, I only go to the produce section, basically. But a lot of the things I see are processed, and that's not raw food. So that's kind of what raw food is. And by the way, I didn't mention, if you have any questions, save them in.
Afterwards?
Yeah. I think it'll be easier if we do it afterwards. So this is just a picture of something that I made. That's a raw food. So it's not just a pomegranate. There are ways you can alter your food and it's still raw. And this is one example. And I think I really, really love food, by the way. So I like to make things, and it can be beautiful. This is another example. It can be very beautiful. And for me, like what I mostly eat is like fruits all day because I don't feel like being in the kitchen all day. So I just eat fruits and a big salad at night. So I don't really spend hours making food, but you can get very creative. Basically what I'm really here to ask you, and I guess the message that I have, is that I believe everyone should take their life in their hands. And this doesn't mean that you shouldn't trust doctors at all, or other people who give you advice. Obviously I'm one of them, I give people advice on their food. But I do believe that every one of us is in charge. And I think that my mom gave me the most inspiration for this, because she really took things in her hands, and her healing was her choice. She just made the choice. And I know that it's not always easy, because we are very tempted, okay? And I was there too. It's not like I'm perfect and I just woke up one day and was like, oh, I don't eat anything processed. But I took this choice. So can you go to me? So I love this quote: the mind is everything, what you think you become. It's debatable if it's Buddha, but let's say it is. I think this quote stands out for me because I personally have a very strong mind, and I also think that anyone who makes a decision can stick to it. So my mom, for example, she's a super lazy person, seriously, and it's amazing because she is following this path completely and nothing takes her off of it, because she was very, very sick. She felt in her body. Like, we're all young. Most of us, I hope, don't know what it feels like to be sick. And so we don't know what it's like. But for my mom, she knows very well. And she made this decision and she sticks to it. So I think that's the first thing that you can use in you, is the decision and the choice in your mind. Also, a little bit about my path to raw foods is, in the beginning, I just took out, Marina and I, we just took out certain things from our diet. So you can see on this box, has a bunch of wonderful things. Wheat flour contains gluten. Okay. Yogurt flavor layer, 20%. That has sugar, vegetable fat, whey powder, fermented milk powder, calcium carbonate, emulsifier, citric acid, natural flavor. I doubt it's natural, personally. Raisins. Okay, cool. Forest fruit filling. Okay, because this is like a forest fruit thing. But the forest fruit filling is glucose syrup, dextrose, humectant. Anyway, I'm not going to read you the whole list, but it's these things. So I started reading the ingredient labels and was like, okay, no sugar and no processed things, and I'm going to give you a list later. But the point is, at first, this is what I took out. And I still ate cooked food, but it was like, I put in as much raw food as I could. As many like juices and smoothies and salads that I could, but I still kept like warm things in my food. And I did this step by step. So I personally think that people should do everything step by step, because you don't want to shock yourself and like completely transition to something over a day. My mom did, but she was very sick and maybe it fit her. But personally, I don't guide people to do that. I think that everybody should take their time with things. So whatever decision you make, maybe this lecture will spark something in your mind. Take your time and just, go there at your pace. Like, just to give you an example, I love cheese. It was like my favorite food ever. So it took me like 3 years to stop eating cheese. And I was vegan. So technically I said I'm vegan, I don't eat cheese, but it took me a really long time to take it out of my diet. And then now I finally, when I see cheese, I don't care. But before I was like, I need to have it. So it was a process. So you can go to the next one. Okay, so this relates to processed food, right? So on the bottom corner you see this experiment that was actually done, where they took a hamburger and fries for like 180 days and nothing happened. And with the watermelon, it's totally spoiled, because that is what should happen if your food is alive, which I said before about raw foods, they're alive. And just like a random example of what alive means, when you see fruits or vegetables, it's obvious that they're alive. But like when you take a seed, okay, when you eat sprouts and you can take a seed and sprout it, that's alive. You can see that it's growing. And it also spoils, like that's part of it. So it's interesting, because a lot of people sometimes tell me that I'm very extreme and I do extreme things. And I really don't think so. Like when I see this picture, I'm really like freaked out by it, because a hamburger, like for me this isn't food at all, because it's not supposed to stay the same after 180 days. So I want to talk to you guys, give you, I guess, a tip about what are processed foods. So do you know like the definition of processed foods? No? Okay, so the definition that I found is transformation of raw ingredients by physical or chemical means into food. So that's the definition of processed food. And actually it includes also like blending. Even blending is a way of processing your food. I do it. I think it's fine, personally. I don't eat everything like exactly like, pick it off the tree and eat it, but I think some processing is okay. But I just try not to heat my food a lot, personally. Okay, so I want to give you some examples of processed foods. Low-fat foods, like sometimes you see it says low-fat. So in order to make it low-fat, they use chemicals and things, to emulate the taste of fat. Obviously, we still want it to taste good. So that's one. Vegetable oils, when they extract oils from vegetables, it's a very harmful process, unlike some other oils. Like I'm talking about canola oil, for example, not like olive oil, which is different. And also you want it to be extra virgin olive oil, because that relates to the extraction process. And preservatives, all the E's freak me out. Don't even look at the numbers. All of the E's, just stay away. You can see online a list of E, whatever, 600, 500, and you can see what the side effects are. Not pretty. And then MSG, which is a flavor enhancer. So those are just some things. And again, it's your choice, Yeah, it can be annoying, like going to the grocery store and you pick it up and you start looking. For me, it's like automatic already, I just do it. And it's natural. Like my friend today actually texted, it's funny, like everybody at my work, my main job is at the Association of Rape Crisis Centers. That's what I do. And everybody's bringing smoothies to work now. It's pretty funny. And my friend texted me a picture of coconut, and she was like, my daughter really wanted coconut, and I was like, okay, that's better than a donut or whatever.